Testing.
Is that an empty space there? Or for people to get in? To the circle? Thank you, Jazakallah khair. حطيتيني. نعم حبيبتي. لا انا مش عارفه، انا قالوا لي اقعدي هنا، قعدت هنا. عايزه مش عارفه والله، هم قالوا لي اقعدي هنا انا قعدت. شوفي يمكن go back to the room?
No, yeah, that's good.
Because you sitting
You have a seat? You have a... Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay, assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you all for coming. And it's so nice to see new faces, old faces. Can I get a raise of hand of if this is your first time coming to the center for a program? Wow, mashallah. And who has been here before? Okay, mashallah. So it's so nice to always have a mixture of new faces and old faces coming back. So we decided to have this program because many of the sisters in our community have been asking for a sisters event, because we have so many programs where it's brothers and sisters, and we don't really have many, just sisters event. And this is something that's really important for women to have, just only sisters event where we can be our authentic selves, we can have open conversations, and just support and empower each other. Can I also get a show of hands if you've ever felt like you were alone, you didn't have any other sister to talk to? Just a show of hands, just be honest. It's okay if you have, because it's normal, so just raise your hand if you did. I see some hands. And it's so important when you have that support system. So that's what we're trying to cultivate at New York City Muslim Center, is for all of us to kind of be a support system for each other, because we are our biggest supporter. Women support women, and we need to keep that going and cultivate it as much as possible. So that's why we had this event, and we have an amazing speaker coming up soon, and Sister Najee is also going to be the other host for the day. So inshallah, we really hope that you enjoy the event and that you benefit from it, inshallah. So to start off the event the right way, we have a Quran recitation from two valuable community members, Sister Amal and then Sister Ruqayya. So we'll start off with Sister Amal. She's going to read a few verses, and then Sister Ruqayya, inshallah. So please just give your undivided attention.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والله يريد أن يتوب عليكم ويريد الذين يتبعون الشهوات أن تميلوا ميلا عظيما يريد الله أن يخفف عنكم وخلق الإنسان ضعيفا يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل إلا أن تكون تجارة عن تراض منكم ولا تقتلوا أنفسكم إن الله كان بكم رحيما ومن يفعل ذلك عدوانا وظلما فسوف نصليه نارا وكان ذلك على الله يسيرا إن تجتنبوا كبائر ما تنهون عنه نكفر عنكم سيئاتكم وندخلكم مدخلا كريما ولا تتمنوا ما فضل الله به بعضكم على بعض للرجال نصيب مما اكتسبوا وللنساء نصيب مما اكتسبن واسألوا الله من فضله إن الله كان بكل شيء عليما ولكل جعلنا موالي مما ترك الوالدان والأقربون والذين عقدت أيمانكم فآتوهم نصيبهم إن الله كان على كل شيء شهيدا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا يسخر قوم من قوم عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم ولا نساء من نساء عسى أن يكن خيرا منهن ولا تلمزوا أنفسكم ولا تنابزوا بالألقاب بئس الاسم الفسوق بعد الإيمان ومن لم يتب فأولئك هم الظالمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن إن بعض الظن إثم ولا تجسسوا ولا يغتب بعضكم بعضا أيحب أحدكم أن يأكل لحم أخيه ميتا فكرهتموه واتقوا الله إن الله تواب رحيم. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير.
Allahumma barik. That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Sister Ammel and Sister Ruqayya. Now I would like to start off by introducing our speaker today, Sister Danielle LoDuca. Sister Danielle LoDuca is a coach, trusted advisor for female leaders. Through coaching and writing, teaching, and speaking, Danielle empowers women to change burnout into a fire within so they can increase their impact while caring for themselves better than ever. She believes that women can be the most powerful force in the world, and when women are strong and well, their communities are stronger and healthier as a result. She coached over 150 women and has created the Merciful Warrior Fitness Program for women. Danielle also coaches female-led organization and serves on the board of 200 Muslim Women Who Care and Strange Inc., and is co-founder of Jesus Son of Mary Center in Tampa. Danielle is a certified life coach, a certified executive coach, certified nutrition coach, and certified fitness coach. She envisions a community of women who support themselves and one another in seeking success in this life and the next, making the world a better place in the process. Now I'd like to welcome Sister Danielle. Yeah, just one second. Yeah. So today's talk will focus on the unity and growth of Muslimahs, emphasizing our shared journey of thriving together. This will be more of an open discussion, so I do want to highlight the importance of participation. Your voice matters.
And this space is dedicated to ensuring that we can all express ourselves without fear or judgment. Here we respect and support each other, creating an environment where youth can feel safe and heard and valued. Now I would like to hand over to Sister Danielle, and inshallah you all enjoy today's event.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everyone. So excited to see all of your beautiful faces here. And I just wanted to thank you two for your recitations, for sharing your beautiful voices with us and Allah's word through them. It's always very special to me because I think we don't often have a lot of opportunity, at least I don't, to hear the Quran recited in women's voices. And so it's something I often crave. And whenever I'm able to hear it in such beautiful voices, it moves my heart so much. So alhamdulillah, thank you so much. And thank all of you for being here. You've already made an amazing step just by coming to this event. So I just want to take a moment to congratulate you for signing up for this program and then for following through and actually showing up. And based on the title of the event, I know that part of your intention, we're going to talk about this a little bit, but part of your intention is to do something good for yourself and maybe for your community. So congrats for that. In order for us to be a part of a wonderful community, for us to create a beautiful community, we have to actually be present with one another. And for us to be present with one another, we first have to know how to be present with our own selves. So I want to start this event off with a little exercise. And I want to acknowledge something first, because we're all kind of sitting in this circle, and it might feel kind of awkward. I don't know if any of you feel awkward, like sitting kind of exposed, and all the other women are on the other side, and maybe someone's like staring at you right now, and it gets a little weird. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. And I see you guys smiling, so you can maybe kind of identify with what I'm saying, and that's great. So I want to do an exercise right now, and I'm inviting you to do this exercise with me. And as you know, when you have an invitation, it's up to you if you accept the invitation or not, right? So I'm not forcing you to do anything here. It's okay if you choose not to do it, but it is an invitation from me to you to participate in this exercise. And so what we're going to do, it's just a simple breathing exercise that involves closing your eyes. So if you want to right now, you can close your eyes if you feel comfortable, if you feel safe enough to close your eyes, you can close them. If not, go ahead and leave them open, maybe look down at the floor. And I just want you to notice what's going on inside your body. So just get a sense maybe of your feet, the bottoms of your feet. Maybe you feel your body against the chair. Maybe you notice the rise and fall of your chest or your belly as you breathe. Bring your awareness into your neck and your shoulders. Maybe allow them to relax a little bit. And then we're going to start to just deepen the breath. So I'd like you to take a nice deep breath through your nose. Be very gentle with this. Imagine if the breath could go all the way into your feet. And as you exhale, part the lips and let the breath come out through the mouth. We're going to do a couple more. So just let yourself breathe. Continue to notice how you feel as that breath comes into your body, as it leaves through your lips. Notice the sensations in your body, and then start to notice the thoughts that are going through your mind. So maybe something's popping up about something someone said, something that's going to happen tomorrow. Why is she making me breathe like this? Just notice what is happening in your mind and allow those thoughts to pass by. Just acknowledge them. There's nothing wrong. And let's take one final deep breath together. We can go ahead and inhale again through the nose, this time even deeper. Fill your belly, fill your chest, let your ribs expand. And then go ahead and exhale and let it go, and let the relaxation spread through your body down into your feet. And keep your eyes closed if you have them closed for a moment. I want you to take a moment to just acknowledge yourself. Like I mentioned to you, you made the choice to show up today. You followed through with something. If you didn't do anything else tonight, that's a wonderful accomplishment. So acknowledge yourself and maybe offer some gratitude for your ability to do that. And then I want you to think about why you're here. What's your intention with coming? All right, and then again, just sense how your body's feeling in this moment. Maybe turn the corners of your mouth up slightly on each side for a little smile, or maybe tap into an internal smile you feel inside your heart. And then go ahead and you can bat your eyelids open. You can keep your gaze low if you like. And so I had you think about why you're here. What's your intention with being here? But now I want to invite you to possibility. I want you to think that there's a possibility that even though you came here for a certain reason, that you actually don't know why you're here. Like, even though you showed up and you're sitting in this chair right now, you actually don't know the real reason that you're in this room. And if you do that, what happens is that now this evening is open to all sorts of possibilities and potentially opportunities that weren't there just a moment ago. So that's another invitation to you, okay? All right, one more thing is that while we're here together, this is about community, and so I just want you to get the sense of the women that are sitting around you right now. Just feel like on both sides of you there's another beautiful woman. We're all here in this room together, and we want to show up with respect for one another, honoring one another, maybe even feeling a bit of love for one another as sisters here today. And we're going to try and maintain that feeling throughout the rest of the evening, inshallah. All right, so the title of this talk tonight, or this event, is about empowerment, and it's about growing and thriving. So I love the combination of these words, actually, because when we think about empowerment, I'm going to ask you in a second what you think of, but for me, it sounds kind of individual oftentimes, like we're thinking about myself being empowered, right? But we paired this with growing and thriving together. And I think that's really important, because in order for a community to be strong, right, just like for this building to be strong, each brick that's put together needs to be strong, right? They need to hold together, they need to be able to rely on one another. And so while it's so important for each individual, each one of us to be strong, to be empowered, it's actually the necessary building block for us as a community. All right, so what do you think of when you hear the word empower? So here you guys can raise your hand and we'll have a mic come to you, and I'd like some of you to share your thoughts, your ideas. So we talk about empowerment, you hear the word empowered, or maybe even the word power. What comes to your mind? And I can even come over to you if you want to share something. Over here? Okay, good.
I think of maybe physical strength, but also like spiritual strength mainly.
Okay, good. So strength, maybe in the mind, the body, spiritual, all the things. Okay, strength. What else do you guys think of when you think about being empowered?
Adria.
Over here.
For me, it's like being able to take better decision, like being advised.
I love that. So kind of like knowledge.
Wise. Yeah.
Go ahead. What was the last thing you said? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was saying that being advised by someone with knowledge or wise people.
Ah, I love that. Okay. So she said that empowerment has to do with knowledge and being able to make decisions based on information or knowledge that she gained from someone with knowledge. Awesome. Anyone else?
Having self-confidence and love yourself.
Love it. Having self-confidence and love yourself. These are all wonderful, right? Awesome. So when I think about empowerment, my mind goes back to a long time ago when my kids were really small. I had, alhamdulillah, 5 kids within 6 years. And while they were small, I ran myself into the ground. And actually, I had a history of doing that, so I can't blame the kids. Even in college, I would run myself into the ground. Running on adrenaline. Does anyone know that feeling? Just pushing yourself day after day. And what that leads to oftentimes is burnout, exhaustion, right? But the funny thing is, people would say, like one of my sister's friends said, your sister makes raising 5 kids look effortless. Like she's just floating around with her 5 kids, like it's so easy. But what most people didn't realize was that it wasn't effortless, and it was far from ideal. But I had a smile on my face anyway. Does anyone know that one? And so I want to talk to you now about 3 types of people. So there are 3 types of people in the world: givers, takers, and matchers. So just think about those 3 words real quick: givers, takers, and matchers. All right? So before I ask you, I kind of want you to think, which one am I? I don't necessarily want you guys to raise your hand just yet. I'm going to think about if I want to do that or not. But I want you to think, am I a giver, a taker, or a matcher? All right? Think about what that means. So now, who do you think, I do want to raise their hands here, who do you think are the most successful people in life, business, maybe we can say spiritually as well? So raise your hand if you think the givers are the most successful. Okay, look around. All right, who thinks the takers end up the most successful in life, business, all the things? Nobody. I'm in the right room here. All right, what about the matchers? Maybe? Okay, what about the matchers? Who thinks the matchers is the most successful? That's a little give and take, right? Like you give me something, I give you something. Okay. All right, now how many people think that the givers are the most unsuccessful people? Just a few. How about the takers? How many people think the takers are the most unsuccessful people? Got a few of those too. And how about the matchers? Raise your hand if you think the matchers are the least successful people. Okay. All right. So interestingly, there's studies done on this. Turns out that the givers are the most successful people. That's what most people thought here, right? But, hello? Oh, it's still working. Okay. The givers are also the most unsuccessful people. You came back. Yeah. The givers are also the most unsuccessful people. So the givers are the most successful people and the most unsuccessful people. So before I tell you any more, I want you guys to think, like, why is that? Raise your hand if you think you know why that might be. Can we get her out of the mic? Okay. And if you could just share your name as well. Yeah. I was going to say over here. Brown hijab. Yeah.
You fill up your cup too much.
Fill up your cup too much?
Yeah.
Can you explain it more?
Yeah, so you give a lot, and then because you give a lot, you get drained out and you get burnt out, and therefore you don't give yourself enough.
Okay, that's what I thought you meant. So she means you empty your cup too much, right? You give
Yes.
too much.
Yes.
All right, who else agrees with that one? Did you want to share something as well? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and they can be successful if they know the balance, like when to give and when to take, and when to stop and when to say no.
Very good, okay. Anyone else have something different to share?
Probably for the giver, maybe we can be like, look successful in dunya, but I believe we'll be successful in akhirah. Something like that.
Okay, yeah. Did anyone hear her? Everyone hear her? Okay. All right, cool. Yes, so you guys are definitely, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think sometimes they give too much without thinking and get taken advantage of most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. So again, giving too much, right? So that's actually what it is. It's about having that balance. It's about giving too much. It's about not going to extremes. Interestingly, in Surah Furqan, there's an ayah that talks about when we're giving financially, right? It's give but not spend but not extravagantly, and don't be miserly, right? So don't withhold but spend. Be somewhere in the middle, right? And there's a hadith also about not giving too much and giving everything away, but finding the middle path, right? And so basically that's what leads to success. So the successful givers are those who know how to give, how to spend, how to share, and it's not only financial, right? What are we often giving? We're giving our love. We're giving our energy. We're giving our time, giving our physical bodies, right? Like working hard and maybe not giving that attention to what our body needs, right? Using our body to give to others, but not giving our body the attention it needs. Using our love and spreading it everywhere around, but not realizing how much love we need, right? Giving our time, but then when it comes to do something that lights you up, you don't have any time left, right? So if any of you guys can identify with any of those things I just said, then you may be leaning a little too far on the side of the unsuccessful giver. And since we have Quranic evidence and evidence in the Hadith that finding that middle ground is important, pleasing to Allah and what He has advised us to do, then that would mean then that realizing that I need love too, I need care too, my body needs to be taken care of as well, right? I need emotional support. I need time for myself to recharge, to rejuvenate. That you're not doing anything wrong by taking care of yourself, right? Because why do people often give to that extent where they're draining themselves and exhausting themselves? There's a feeling of obligation a lot of times. So can anyone identify with that? Like I feel obliged to give and give and give and give and give and give some more, right? Okay, so this is a really important point. I want you guys to just think a little bit about maybe a way that you're giving something in a little too extreme of a way right now in your life. And just identify it. You don't even have to find a solution right now. Okay, so you heard in my little bio that I believe that women can be the most important force, the most powerful force in the world. And I do believe that when women are strong, everyone wins, right? Like, think about all the people in your life around you right now. Maybe children, maybe spouse, siblings, your friends, your coworkers, the people you meet on the street when you walk to the grocery store, right? Anyone that you interact with, basically. You have some kind of potential influence on the people in your life, right? And oftentimes, what I've seen time and time again is that women, in particular, are not using the influence that they have the potential for. So we have far more influence than we realize. And so we're not using that influence. And I know by the fact that how many women said, and this isn't to judge people who didn't say this, but the people who said the givers are the successful ones, right? I know that you are giving people. I know that. Like every single woman I work with has the most beautiful, giving, loving soul. Incredible people. And I believe that each and every one of you here is a beautiful, incredible, giving, and loving soul. And so for us to be strong, for the world to be strong, for the Muslim Ummah to be strong, each one of us has to recognize and realize that you have influence over everyone in your life, potentially. And so now, I want you to take a little moment right now and think about the people that are around you in your life, right? Even if it's only one person, maybe you don't have a big circle. Maybe there's one person in your life, right? And think about how are you showing up to that person? And sometimes giving, there's another side of giving. So now I'm totally going off my notes here. Sometimes when we're giving, we're not giving, but we're giving away. So that's another distinction that I want you to take home with you. Am I giving in a sense of sharing, in the sense of doing good for someone, in the sense of like providing, or am I giving away, where that giving is literally like taking away from my own well-being, right? And it's not like wealth, where it's like if I give, I still have some back, right? But where are you giving where it's literally like draining you, That's the one that you want to think about, where it's taking away from your well-being, okay? So now I want to talk about 5 things. I have 5 things that you can take to empower yourself, okay? So that you can become that strong unit of a strong community. So the 5 things. 1 is that you care for yourself like you would care for a loved one. Think of someone in your life that you love so much. And if you don't know of someone, imagine if you just had the most beautiful, wonderful human being that you could love and care for. How would you treat them, right? How would you talk to them? What words would you say to them? But what words are you saying to yourself in the mirror when you look at yourself in the morning, right? So, care for yourself like you would someone you loved so much, so dearly. And every time you look in the mirror, ladies, tell yourself, I love you. Number 2, know what you want. Know what you want. Okay, I run fitness classes. You know how many ladies, they'll take their kids to Taekwondo, they'll take their kids to all the things, right? All the things. Events, day and night, tutors, this, that, but pay for something for myself? Sign up for a class for me? I don't think I have the budget for that. There's no budget for that, right? So know what you want. What you want matters. What you want is legitimate. What you want is valid. You can't control your desires. You don't have to get everything you want, but you have to know that what you want is valid, right? So I would love to invite you. There's an easy way to kind of tap into this one. You can take a notebook, a journal, and you can write what's called the Book of Desires. Just write whatever comes to your mind. And it's a book that you can tear it up if you want. You can burn it. You can throw it in the garbage. Not another soul ever has to see it. But you're allowing yourself to find out what you really want. And this is incredibly powerful. We don't have a lot of time tonight to get into like the depth of the power of each one of these things that I'm sharing with you. But I want you to just take my advice and try it. Okay, stream of consciousness, don't edit, don't judge, just let it go. Let it come out on paper and see what's there, okay? Number 3, having boundaries. Boundaries. You know what boundaries are, right? They're where we have some boundaries, like our clothes are boundaries, right? Okay, our clothes are boundaries, and maybe most of us in here, we're not gonna walk out in our underwear. That's a boundary, right? So we have certain things that we know where our values are. But what happens is that when, you know that feeling of like resent when someone does something that you don't like, but then you just let it go, right? So oftentimes we have boundaries, but we don't define them clearly enough. We don't know what they are. We're like, it bothers me when he does that, but I don't know why. So you gotta know, what are my boundaries? Where is that line that I wanna draw? And then you have to clearly draw it first for yourself, and then you wanna be able to communicate that with other people. I have this boundary. This is okay, and this is not okay, right? I can come help you out, but I can't stay past 8 o'clock, right? I'll cook dinner, but I'm not gonna cook 3 times a day. We have to use leftovers at some point, right? There's certain things you have to know about yourself, where your boundaries are. When you feel exhausted and drained and burnt out, often, most of the time, I mean, really it's 100%, somewhere you have a boundary that you haven't defined well, or you know what it is, but you just let people keep crossing it all day long, right? That's gonna make you feel drained and exhausted, so keep those boundaries. All right, saying no. Saying no. Sometimes the problem is we say yes to everything. Can you do this for me? Yes. Can you do that for me? Yes, 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 all day long. Come over to my house? Yes, right? Or sometimes it's just that we're too afraid to say no. Because again, we don't feel legitimate in what our needs are, what our wants are. And so practice saying no more. And there's more to this, again, we don't have time, but sometimes saying no to someone is actually an opportunity for the relationship to become even deeper. So you don't know what possibility lies on the other side of saying no. So practice that. Notice when you want to say no, but you don't. That's the first step. All right, and then asking powerfully. So once you know what you want, and once you know what your boundaries are, now you have a chance to really create a deep connection with other people by asking, by making requests. And so I like to call this making a powerful request. So let's say I want help with something, or I want something. I can make a powerful request by one, knowing that the other person can say no, they can say yes, or they can negotiate with me. So I don't ask people something, I'm not saying I don't do that, I still do that, but I don't want to ask someone something, and they cannot say no, it's not allowed. Because when I ask, my whole energy is gonna come across in that way, like you better not say no. And now that person doesn't have permission to be themselves. So part of having powerful relationships, part of being empowered, is understanding that other people also have the same autonomy that we want to have, right? So when you make a powerful request of something, remember that they can say no, they can say yes, or they can negotiate. That's their right. So now you feel free to ask, right? They're an autonomous individual. It's on them if they want to say yes or not. It's not up to you. All right, so I hope those 5 help. And then real quick, how long we have? None? No time? We're done. Yeah. So now we're going to move on to the next session, which is journaling. Yes. I warned you before, I told you I go over. So we're gonna be going on to journaling, and I just wanna say one quick thing about it. So one of the things I wanna invite you guys to do is to lean into a little discomfort. So there's some prompts on papers on your tables. I want you to read through those prompts. The inclination is gonna be to go with the prompt that you feel most comfortable with. Like, oh, I know the answer to that one, I'm gonna write that one down. No, I want you to look at those and say, which one makes me the most uncomfortable? Which one makes me feel like I wanna run away from it, and answer that question, okay? Because that's where the goodness is, that's where the change is. So whatever you want, last thing I'll say, whatever you want is usually on the other side of discomfort. We know that in Islam, right? Everything good we get, it comes through some kind of test, some trial. It comes from waking up early in the morning, praying Fajr, right? From discomfort. So lean into this discomfort, and inshallah, on the other side, you'll find something good. So after this session, inshallah, we will come back together again, and we're going to have a little discussion. I want to hear your insights, and I hope that it becomes a powerful exercise for all of you.
Okay, inshallah. So we're all going to come over here to the second part. So just find a seat, and inshallah, I'll let you know when we can get started. But for now, just find a seat and get to know the other females around your table. Introduce yourself. So we're not getting started yet. We're all going to write together. So just right now, we're having a seat. Guidance? It's just the... You guys have a seat?
There's seats in the front. If you want to sit.
You could bring chairs in if there's no space. If anyone does not have a chair, let us know. We'll bring some more chairs. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you can go pray over there. Okay, perfect.
Okay, just gonna wait for everyone to be seated, and then we can start. So by a show of hands, who has journaled before? Wow, mashallah. That's amazing. So this is new to some, and this is an old friend to many of us also. So it's really nice to see that a mixture in the crowd. So before we start, we're going to have a sister who is a very experienced writer in our community. This is Aisha. She's going to just give a few tips before we start journaling. For anyone that's new or would need some guidance, she's just going to give a brief overview on the best practices when journaling. Thank you, Aisha.
Sure. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So I remember I left a message for Sister Farah yesterday, and I was just letting her know that it is literally just anything that comes to your mind, you just write. Even if it is just one word, if it's a poem, or if it is something a little bit more detailed, it is totally just open. You can even write a story about somebody else. Whatever is coming to mind, just let it flow. And if nothing comes to mind, then that's it. That's absolutely fine as well, and something might come later. So I hope that clarifies. Does anyone have any questions for me, or is that good? No questions? All right, yes. So, yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, Sister Aisha has a non-profit organization called The Stranger's Poet, I believe. So The Strange Ink. Yeah. So she has an organization where she helps females, tap into their writing skills and really cultivate that, that beauty of writing as women. So that's what we're gonna do today with journaling. So we can look at the prompts. You could, as Sister Danielle mentioned, just choose one that makes you uncomfortable. Sometimes we need to be uncomfortable in order to find our most comfortable self. So let's choose a prompt that makes us most uncomfortable. Try to challenge yourself today. Today is the day to challenge yourself. And then just write whatever comes to your mind. And then we're going to be around if you need any help. So let's get writing. And if you don't have a journal, please raise your hand. We have more journals if anyone needs. Okay, so 10 minutes. Let's write down as many thoughts as we can. Just anything that comes to mind. As Sister Aisha mentioned, it's just free-flowing thoughts. Be as honest as you can. This is your journal for you. So you can find, is anyone sitting? Oh, okay, maybe that's okay. I'll take it. Yeah. And then you want your voice to sit, like beside you? Are you sure? I think it's in the stage of the room.
I'm just going to say something about the questions on the prompts. So the questions, they don't have a specific meaning. They're literally just there to get your brain working. So there's no right or wrong answer. So just read it, and if something comes to your mind, that's what you write down.
Yeah, no one's checking this, so it's just, you're taking it home, so it's only for you to see. And during our discussion portion, it's up to you if you want to share it. So you could even write in your language if that's better for you. You don't have to write in English. If you have a different language that is better for you, you can write in that also.
Or if you have really bad handwriting, you can just think of what you want to say and just scribble.
Anything is welcomed. I'm writing, but I'm enjoying watching you. Well, you have to see me. I will. When I go home, I'll write about this. This is going to be my journal. Huh? It is worth journaling. It is. It's pretty special. You guys are doing an amazing job. So I need to write about it. It's amazing. Empowered and happy. So right. You right? Okay, good. Okay, beautiful. Oh, you're good handwriting. Very nice. Good job. You're writing? Okay. You have to even draw. You don't want to write. Get tired of writing, you can draw.
Good job. I passed all this already.
So you can help guide the young ones. You can tell them how you did it. Two more minutes, so finish up your thoughts.
Okay, sounds good. Is this slow? Okay.
Right now, we're just. Okay, all right, sister. I just wanted to quickly remind you all that we have markers, pens, and tapes. If you want to decorate your journals, we are taking a group picture at the end, so if you want to hold your journal and take the picture, or just for yourself, you can decorate the cover page, add your name, add anything that's meaningful to you, and just make it all nice and cute. Please do let us know if you need more markers or any more supplies. We will provide. And yeah, let me see the decorating part. Okay. Yeah, that's my girl.
So when you look at your journal, let it represent you. So decorate it in a way that represents you, the most authentic version of yourself. Okay, this is a journal that you will keep and keep journaling when you go home. So make sure it represents you. You can put some empowering quotes. Make sure to put your name. You can put, you know, a drawing or a picture that really speaks to you. So 1 more minute of decorating, and then we'll move on to our next activity. Yeah. Yeah, they can listen. Continue. And I'm noticing that some of you are connecting with other women on your tables, which is really amazing. So if there's someone on your table that you never met before, introduce yourself, let them know your name, let them know your background, and just connect with the ladies around you, because that's the purpose of this event. So please make sure you're talking to the ladies in your table. Okay, so we can start to wrap up. I mean, if you still want to continue writing or decorating, you can do that on your table. But for those of you who are finished, we're going to move on to the next activity with Sister Danielle. So if you can all please just turn over here. You can turn your chairs around. Just face this way. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. We can make that an invitation. So you have the choice if you want to turn around or not, okay? All right, so in this section, we're going to do a couple of things. First, I would love to hear from some of you, any insights that you've had so far tonight. And then we'll have an opportunity for maybe one or two of you to get coached on something. So if anything came up for you tonight where you're like, oh, I really need to work on this, or I need some help with this, I'm going to invite maybe one, maybe two, if we have time, of you up to speak with me, and I will coach you towards your goal or around the problem that you have, something like that, okay? So first of all, I just wanted to say what about insights. So I'm going to ask you, what insights have you had tonight, right? So what is an insight in the first place? I always like to share this whenever I speak. So if you ever heard me say this before, it's okay. Listen again. Maybe something new will come up for you. So an insight is when you see something in a new way, right? So maybe something has been in front of you all along, but the day that you noticed it, you started to notice it every day after that, right? Like it wasn't there, but then all of a sudden you saw it, and now you know it's there, and you can't unsee it, right? So an insight is a change that happens in your perception, a change that happens in the way you see things. And once you see things differently, what happens is that your entire world changes. Now you see the world in a new way. So that effectively makes the world like a new place, right? So what's something new that's come up for you where you're like, and insight isn't necessarily like a mind-blowing moment like, oh, wow, this is huge, right? Sometimes an insight, most often an insight is just something that makes you go, oh, huh. So if you had a, oh, huh moment tonight, I want to hear about it. So who's willing to share something that came up for you? Sometimes insights are questions. Sometimes they're answers. Sometimes they're just thoughts, right? So really anything goes. But if something interesting came up for you and you'd like to share with us, I'd love to hear some of you share. And actually, before I call on any of you, I want to share something about community really quick, because I know it can be a little bit awkward to be the first person to raise your hand, to share, to be vulnerable. But maybe some of you have heard the story about a village in Africa where women were washing their clothes in the river. Has anyone ever heard this story before? It's told by Brené Brown in one of her books. You know it, right? So the women would go down to the river and wash their clothes together every day, right? But then they were blessed with the technology of the washing machine. Alhamdulillah, right? No more washing, scrubbing the clothes, walking with the heavy bags down to the river, you know, getting dirty, getting wet, and then having to walk back with all those clothes again. But something strange happened, and that's that all of the women started to become depressed. They weren't happy. And that's because it wasn't the washing machine's fault necessarily, right? But it was what they were getting when they were spending their days at the river, washing their clothes together, with one another, in community, right? Speaking to each other, sharing with each other, laughing, sharing their problems, being there for one another, right? That's what they were missing. And sadly, I'm sure you all know that we're missing that in a lot of ways in our modern world. So this is an opportunity for us to be a little bit vulnerable in front of one another. And if one person shares, or if you don't share, it doesn't mean you won't get anything out of this, right? You get a lot just by being together, by seeing the other people, by hearing one another, okay? So I want to make that commitment that all of us, we're here for one another, whether we share, whether we listen. Inshallah, there's something for you to get out of that, and for us to get as a community out of that. All right, so with that being said, all right.
Yes, Hi, my name is Nafisa, and I wanted to share my insight, I guess. It changed my perspective when I saw the journal prompts, especially the first one, what's going well for you. So for me, I have like these ruminating thoughts that like tend to be negative, like, oh, this is not working out, or that's not working out. So I just wrote about things that are going well for me and just practicing gratitude. And should I read some stuff? I don't know.
If you want to share what you wrote, sure. And I'd love to hear also how it feels to do that, to notice that.
I mean, it's like thought-provoking, really, to think about the things that are going well as opposed to what's going wrong. And it's like breaking a pattern almost.
MashaAllah.
And so I just wrote that, you know, I'm a Muslim and I can have this community of people and not feel alone. I'm working in a field that I always wanted to work in. I'm a teacher. Alhamdulillah, I can sustain myself as a woman, which women in the past weren't able to do, even women just a generation prior to me. So yeah, those are the list of things I basically wrote.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is so powerful. How many of the rest of you can identify with that? Like, wow, most of the thoughts that I jump to are negative ones. Yeah, you're not alone if that's the case. It's actually how our brains are, right? They're wired to look for what's wrong in the environment, like, how can I protect myself? How can I stay safe? But, you know, noticing that there's so much going well for us in our lives, right? It's incredibly powerful. So thank you so much for sharing your personal, you know, ones that you found, and just that insight is huge, mashallah. Who else has something to share?
So for me, at first I was confused because you said that like choose something that's gonna it's gonna be like discomforting to you. So, but I wanted to write something that I was very excited to write, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna write that. I'm gonna listen to her. So I wrote some about something that's really bothering me, like for a few weeks. Actually, I'm pregnant, so I acknowledge the fact that I'm very emotional nowadays. But normally, I know I know how not to react to people and how not to just take people's energy. Like, you know, I can listen to you, but I'm not gonna take the energy from you. But now it's like I can't control it. I'm just crying, and you're saying something negative, and I'm being affected by that, and I'm thinking about it. And as I'm thinking, I'm like, I'm not like supposed to think about this, you know. So it's like it's very hard for me. So I do acknowledge a lot of the stuff that I wrote here, but just the fact that I wrote it and I just saw it like in pages. I used to write journal before, but I stopped. It was a huge difference. Like that was the insight for me, because I know exactly the points I mentioned here, but maybe I didn't take time to clearly look at them or think about them, you know, reflect on them. But now it's like, subhanallah, I know all these things. It's just for me to take the time and write it down.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah, that's awesome. Did anyone else feel that way when they wrote and they saw what they wrote on the page? That's beautiful. Thank you so much. And I just want to add, because you said about feeling emotions, right? I just want you to know that emotions are their messages, and they're just telling you to pay attention to something. And so that's why it's also really good for you to acknowledge what those things are, to acknowledge how you feel. So important, so powerful too, mashallah. Thank you so much for sharing. Any other insights? Yes?
Hi, my name is Dasmi, and I did the prompt, what does your heart long for? And something that I grew up always hearing is, to really just be grateful for what you have. And I think that this prompt really challenged that upbringing of mine and made me think beyond what I already have, what more can I do with my life and what more can I have? And I think it also was really helpful because beyond just the kind of concept of gratefulness, it made me really think of goals and things that I want for myself to be a better version of myself. And it's not about not being grateful, but what more can I do with my life? And I think it was a really nice insight to see kind of not just settling for what I already have, but just doing more to improve it. And I like that about the exercise because it kind of challenged my upbringing.
MashaAllah, alhamdulillah, that's really powerful. Did everyone get to hear that? Okay, mashallah. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love that so much. MashaAllah. I think there's one more sister here, and then we're going to move to the next part. Oh, and here too? Okay.
There's one.
Sure.
Two, we will get to you. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Marwa, and the prompt that I decided to choose that really made me feel uncomfortable was, what do you feel the real issue is?
Can you just bring it closer?
Sorry. What do you feel the real issue is? So I'm gonna just read what I wrote. I feel like oftentimes I'm afraid to admit what the underlying issue is. At times I feel like I try to run away from it and allow it to overcome me. It ends up having an effect on me and my relationships with people. I feel like running away keeps me from growing. It is a scary place to be in. Sometimes I feel like I don't know what I'm even afraid of. So I feel like everybody has a story, a background of experiences that keeps them afraid from making a mistake. As humans, we like to try to be as best. We're not perfect, but some experiences in our lives might have been there where like when we make a mistake, we're scolded for it, and it's actually very it's a very negative effect, because and it can affect a person into adulthood. And sometimes I don't know, so I'm afraid to admit, okay, like I don't really love who I am because of what I've been through. And it's like, when I don't admit that I don't love myself at times, it helps me it keeps me from seeing what the real issue is, and that keeps me from trying to grow and learn and become stronger and better from that experience. And it's a process, but it's also very scary, but much needed to confront and say, well, what is keeping me from loving myself and believing in myself and trying to come up and think of things that do make us beautiful, and you know, to just not run away from it. And you know, I have yet every day to answer that question: what is the underlying issue? What is bothering me? And that's all.
Thank you so much. So I want to honor you for and thank you for your vulnerability and sharing that. It's very beautiful. I know probably a lot of us can relate. And I just want to mention that often fear is just a mask for desire. So lean into that fear. Beautiful.
I think we have one more.
Okay.
Hi, assalamu alaikum. My name is Arcella. I chose the prompt, what stops you? I thought that, I don't know, I just heard it and it kind of felt like it was calling me out, like, very loudly. But yeah, I think that I just answered it saying that I think not being present is what stops me. Like you were saying before, I feel like just being a little bit distracted in a literal sense, like, you know, in the present moment, we're always doing so many things, but also like in a figurative way of like distracted in a bigger way of like, you know, our dunya and like our akhirah, like what do you really want? Are you really chasing and pursuing things that are good for you? You know, and where is your priority for things in life? And also just being present in a different way too, just journaling. I think we don't sit down and do this. Like this is not a action I feel like most people do. I love journaling a lot, but it's not something I even put my time into enough, even though I love it, you know? It's like something that we all have to do, and it's special to me today. It's insightful because I came with my mom, and my mom and I, you know, it's just nice to see my mom doing this too, because we've been raised so differently, but we're so similar. We're all so similar. We don't realize it because we're all in our own lives, but it's just beautiful to like do this within a like group setting too. But yeah.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah, jazakumullah khairan. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's such a beautiful insight. It's almost like we're at the river washing our clothes right now. Right? Alhamdulillah, I hear that in what you said there. Beautiful. Okay. Is there anyone who would like to get some coaching? Okay. You can come up. That's true. I heard someone say everyone needs coaching. That is 100% true. So I always have my own coach or coaches. You know, in order to grow, like the sister said earlier, like, oh wow, I can change. I can continue to grow, right? And that's why you all came here, mashallah. So I agree. All right, come sit with me. All right, so Sister Asma, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming up here. Okay, so I'm here for you, and I just want you to, I mean, we're all here together, but at the same time, like, I want you to focus on our conversation. And Well, just so you guys know, when one person's being coached in the room, this is called like hot seat coaching. So we don't have to turn up the flame on you so much if you don't want, but as one person's being coached, everyone in the room gets to benefit, right? So you can listen as if you're, being asked the same questions, right? And open your mind to, again, what insights may you get from this conversation, okay? So even though I'm speaking to Esma, how can it be as if I'm speaking with you as well, right? Okay, sister, so tell me, how can I help?
I thought maybe it's gonna be like, I didn't think that it's gonna be.
It's
like
okay,
public.
whatever comes up,
Yeah,
whatever
no,
comes up.
But I do want to share because.
Oh, you mean you just wanted to share an insight?
No, not inside, but you said coaching, right?
Yeah.
So for me personally, I realized that like at this stage of my life, like I have 2 kids and another one is coming, I actually don't have any friends. So the reason I'm saying is because I do have a lot of people that I connect to, and most of the time what I realize that actually I'm the one who's coaching them. Like I'm the one who's counseling them, comforting them when they're not feeling good. But when I am not feeling good, I really, it's not that I can't call and tell them what's happening, but I don't want to because I know that they're not going to say anything positive, or they're not going to give me any kind of advice that's going to help me to come out of the situation. So the most I can do is maybe write, which I cannot do nowadays.
Okay. Before you go on to finding solutions, let's talk about what you have so far. So what I'm hearing from you is that you have a lot of people around you, right? And when they're in need of help or advice, you've got it for them, right? But when you find yourself in need of support in some way, you don't go to these people and ask them for help, right? So my question for you is, how did you create that situation?
I don't understand that. Like, what do you mean by how I created the situation?
Yeah,
it's like
so I'm messing with your thinking. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to be messing with your thinking. I'm going to try to get you to think in a new way,
Yeah, sure.
right? So I want you to think about the scenario you just mentioned to me, right? And I want you to think, what did you do that created this situation where you have friends that are willing to hear from you and that you help and you coach and you teach and you're there for them, but at the same time, you're not willing to ask for their help?
It's not that I'm not willing to. I did ask, and the kind of feedback I got.
So even with that, how did you create that situation?
So when I saw that the negative energy is not going to help me, I just stopped asking. I just stopped sharing.
But who are these people? Are they your friends?
Yeah, you can call them friends.
Okay.
And
So how did you end up in a circle of people where there's negativity, or where they're not people who are, there to support you or empower you and lift you up? How did you end up in a situation like that?
I was one of them once upon a time.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then I worked on myself to change my mindset, my thinking process, and
yeah. So that's really good. So basically what I am hearing from you is that maybe you've outgrown your friends, your group, your social group, right? So sometimes, first of all, there's a really great principle, which is that the way that like my mentor puts it, if you're the most interesting person in the room, you're in the wrong room, meaning always be in a place where you can learn, right? So sometimes we're with people where they're there and they can benefit from us, but they actually bring us down, or they drain us of energy, or they're not encouraging you to become better and help you to become better. So what could you do to help create an environment, a social circle with women who actually do uplift you or challenge you?
Yes, I actually tried. Like, I tried to sign up for classes, and I realized that online, especially when the classes are like Zoom live classes, there is not much. Like, I cannot really interact with other people that much. Like the way when you go to college, like you can sit down and see people and talk, connect, take the help with the homework and stuff.
Is that where you found a lot of your friends at college?
Yeah, like college, like neighbor, relative. It's not exactly from college.
So, okay, so you tried Zoom classes, that didn't seem to fit, What else could you do?
Truth be told, like I'm the one who take care of the kids and a lot of the chores,
Mhm.
so I really don't have the opportunity to go out and like today when I came.
Okay, wait. So I'm going to stop you 1 second. So what I'm hearing now, right, is that, let's just be clear. What is it that you want?
I do want to connect with people whom I can learn from.
Okay, so you want to connect with a group of people or even maybe an individual, right? Where when you're around them, you feel energized, you feel uplifted, maybe they challenge your thinking, they help you become a better person,
Yes.
right? And when you leave that setting, you feel like alive, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then what I heard after that, now you know what you want, right?
Yeah, I do.
But so what's stopping you?
I don't know how to put it. So as I was trying to mention that because I have 2 kids and I have all the things
Yeah.
that I have to do, and I have my family, but it's like if I ask for help, they can't really help when I need it. Like they have their own time, which doesn't match with
Okay.
my time.
So
it's-
I'm gonna
it's
just
a
because
lot
we
of-
have limited time.
Yeah.
What I hear you saying is there's a lot of reasons, right?
Yeah.
There's time, there's people, there's this, that, right?
No, mainly it's my childcare. Like if someone can
Childcare.
see my kid, I could have like done a lot of stuff which I can do because I have to see them all
Okay.
the time.
Mm-hmm. So is it 100% true? 100% true that because you have to take care of your children and you don't have childcare for them, that you cannot find a way to meet women who are energizing and uplifting?
Yeah, I would say that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, right now that's how I'm thinking, but if
Yeah.
you can change my
Yeah.
thinking.
So I just want to show you like what it looks like right now to you is that this is 100% true,
Yeah.
right? Like I just can't.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to wait till they grow up and go to college to have a good friend group or something, right? But what if there was another way?
I would take that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is.
What if what's really stopping you is only in your mind?
That of course I don't want to be stopped by that.
Mhm.
I really like.
So
yeah.
one of the things I heard you say was there's someone who the timing doesn't work out or they can't do what you want them to do, right? Something
So
like
it's
that.
like, how sometimes people say that ask for help. Like as a mom, you need
Right.
help, ask for help.
Yes.
But what if you ask and they don't help you? What do you do then?
So is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
tell me a way, like if I was that person, how do you ask for help?
So it's a very near family. For example, my sister.
Okay.
So if I'm telling them that I'm really having hard time with laundry with my 2.5-year-old and with all these things, so can you please come to my house once a week, for 1 hour, and I'm just gonna leave the kids with you and I'm gonna go to do the laundry. And I told them once, twice, and many times,
Mhm. And what do they say?
they don't say anything, but I do realize that, okay, they don't want to do it, they don't want to help. So,
Okay. So remember we were talking about powerful requests
yeah,
before?
I was thinking about that,
Yeah.
but I didn't know how.
Okay. So first of all, you have to connect to what your desire is, right? Because when I heard you explain how you asked, you were like, I'm having a really hard time, right? First of all, you're putting yourself in need, right? You're seeing yourself in need, and you're expressing this, like if that person says no, they will feel guilty, right? Probably. Like if I see you suffering and I'm like, sorry, Asma, I don't have time for that, right? I'm gonna feel really guilty because I see you're in need and you're struggling and you don't have time and you really want me to help. And so I'm in a position right now. If you're asking me that question, I'm put in an uncomfortable position where I'm like, oh my God, how do I say no to Asma, right? I'm gonna actually probably try to not answer your phone calls if I actually don't wanna come for whatever reason. I will be uncomfortable. So how could you ask that question when you feel completely okay with her saying no?
I mean, right now I'm in a situation that I know they're going to say no, but sometimes still I have to ask.
No, but you're not answering my question. So how can you ask them in a way where you're okay with them saying no?
that's gonna be like mental preparation for me. Like I'm gonna be okay if she says no.
Exactly.
So that's what I am in right now. I'm okay with people saying no.
Yeah.
But
how might you ask differently? Because the way that you asked me was, I'm really in need, I'm struggling, I need this help, can you please come once a week, and da da da. So let's brainstorm a little bit.
Yeah, I did that too, like being flexible, like give them like their time, like when can they come, or when, how they can they help. So looking into that, so like whatever is flexible for them, kind of like try to match my time with their time. You know?
Yeah. Okay. I think that what I would give you as kind of like a homework, right, would be to, number one, list out the things that you really want. So you want to go very high level, not necessarily like I need laundry done, I need this, like don't start there. Start with the higher level, which is I want to have a better social life. I want to be surrounded by people who inspire me, who energize me, who I can help and they can help me, right? And you want to think more about what that would look like, right? Envision yourself living that life. Picture yourself, Esma, surrounded by people who are like, oh, I feel a little bit shy even to be with these people, you know? Yeah. And instead of thinking of it as something impossible, start to really imagine it, because actually whatever we visualize and we allow ourselves to feel the emotions of, our body and our brain don't even know the difference if it actually happened or not. And so what will happen is that you'll become that Esma that has that group of friends. Right now, you're not her, right? Because you don't even believe it's possible. You're like, no, like nobody can help me. I asked so-and-so and she didn't come. I went to Zoom classes and it was not good, right? So the first step here is actually believing that that's even possible. So visualize that reality, that I'm Esma. I have amazing friends. Like Allah can provide anything, right? Like this is something, ladies, when we talk about like visualization, so I'm just going to talk to them for a second. When we talk about visualization and thinking about a future that we want to create or a goal we want to achieve, right? You know, if you hear other people talk about this, it sounds like you're just creating some kind of magic, you know, like I imagine it and it just becomes. But Allah told us that I am as my servant thinks of me, right? I am as my servant thinks of me. So when we think this can't happen, we think this is impossible, what are we saying? Right? Who is the Allah that we're envisioning when we think that these things are impossible? And it doesn't mean that Allah owes us anything, right? It doesn't mean because we want something, Allah has to give it to us. But it means that we are limiting what's possible, or limiting what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of, right? So that's why when you want, you know, you're feeling this agitation, you want change, right? But when you do not believe that will happen, there's really no way it can happen. So the first step is believing that this is possible. And I would invite you to like lie in your bed in the morning when you just wake up and you're still kind of drowsy, and imagine like that you're sitting in a room with those women. Like, what are they saying to you? How are they talking to you? How do you feel inside your heart, right? How do you walk out of the room every time like, wow, that was amazing, right? And maybe you don't know what that is, but maybe it's a class, maybe it's a place you go, who knows what it will be, right? But start to dream, start to allow yourself to imagine that being true. What will happen as a result is everything else will start to fall in line, because right now you're literally blocking that reality from happening, because you're like, oh, I asked so-and-so, it didn't happen, right? I tried this, didn't work. It's not going to happen. It's just impossible. What that happens when you do that, you're closing off the possibility. So this will help you, inshallah, to open up to new ideas. Like don't have time to like brainstorm about all the ways and a strategy right now, but I think this would be a really, really good first step. So hearing that, what do you feel?
I just want to mention one thing. I'm not actually pessimistic. Like I do make dua almost every day for that kind of circle for me, because I believe that if Allah wants, He can open a door for me, but I don't know when, how.
Exactly.
You know? But I do have that hope. Otherwise, I couldn't, function.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not to judge you at all, because I see also that you're someone, you're interested in growing, you're interested in improving, right? So I think just think about how to apply all of the work that you've been doing on yourself in this direction, because this is obviously something you want. Also, you want to investigate. When we want something and we're not getting it, maybe there's an upside to not getting it. Like you know, what about your current situation are you hanging on to? Are you more committed to than having that kind of life? And that's something maybe we can't, I saw you kind of,
Yeah,
you thought of something.
I mean, I understand the importance of like what I'm doing with my kids right now, because like I do have certain like principles and values, like I eat healthy, so which like I have to spend time with cooking for myself and the kids, and I don't give them a lot of TV, so I play with them a lot, activity. So it's like, so I know what I'm doing. I'm very intentional, and I'm actually happy about those things. But still, I feel like I need that, you know.
Do you feel if you were to have that kind of environment that you're describing, that it would take you away from what you're doing as a mother?
I think I can manage. Like, it's not like completely, maybe it's gonna even positively impact me, like I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be happier.
I think that thought is a good one for you.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you say that? Like, yeah, it's
so
possible.
Good.
Yeah?
That's so good.
Good.
Just by thinking about it.
Yeah. So what's the emotion?
Like, you see the fact that I can learn, I can do something creative, you know. So just by thinking about it is making me happy, you know.
Happy.
So when I'm happy, I know that like my kids, my 2.5-year-old, he's just, sometimes he pinch my hand and do something, it hurts. But maybe when I'm so happy, not maybe, but I know that, I realize that, I acknowledge that I'm happy and he's doing this, I'm like, Baba, don't do it, you know, very nice way.
Okay.
When I'm not feeling well, I'm like, can you get off of me?
Right.
You know, so this is the difference.
Yeah, good. So what I hear now, right, and I think we're there right now, what I hear is that when you allow yourself to believe in that possibility of balancing, that I can be a good mother, giving my children all my attention that they deserve, caring for them in the way that I believe they should be cared for, and I'm also attending to my needs by having, you know, seeking and finding, inshallah, a circle of people who energize me, uplift me, and help me grow. That when you think of that balance, that's possible for both to coexist, it makes you feel really happy, right? And from that feeling, inshallah, you're going to be able to start to look at, well, what other possibilities are there, right? And maybe when so there's one more thing I'll share with you, actually. So I love this. In business, there's a concept that yes lives in the land of no, right? So imagine a salesperson going out and selling something door to door. They may have to speak to 100 people, 200 people, 400 people before one person says yes, right? And so the same goes for you in this quest towards finding that balance, right? And seeking out that environment you want, is that, you know, maybe the Zoom class wasn't it. Maybe asking your sister-in-law was it. Maybe this was that, you know, wasn't it. But it's about persisting.
Keep trying.
Yeah, and so it's hanging on to that vision. That's why the visualization is so important. That happiness that you felt is so important, because those are like going to anchor you to that goal and help you to continue going. Like, what makes you keep going when someone says no, 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 no? How do you keep going, right? So you have to anchor into the real reason why this matters. And you tapped into a really, really powerful one of why this matters. And that is that if you grow and you become better, that is going to fuel and make your kids better. And it's going to make you a better mother. Right. MashaAllah.
Thank you so much.
Alhamdulillah. You're so welcome.
Jazakallah.
Welcome. All right. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Sister Asma. Thank you for your willingness to come up here. MashaAllah. I hope everyone got something from that. I think we're probably at time, right? Not that I'm counting. Huh? Okay. Okay, good. All right. All right, cool. All right. So I've actually been Muslim for 22 years, alhamdulillah, this year. I became Muslim when I was 22 years old, so half of my life, super exciting year for me. But the reason I bring that up is just because when I became Muslim, one of the most powerful things that I noticed was that when we stand in prayer, we stand united like that in one line, right? And I don't have the studies to back this up, so you guys can look it up. I'm not going to say it like it's a fact. But I think that when our hearts are close together like that, you know, our hearts have an electromagnetic field around them. And actually, that electromagnetic field expands and contracts. So when you're feeling like small and depressed and angry and sad and all those kinds of things, your electromagnetic field will actually get smaller. When you feel expansive and happy and optimistic and proud and all these things, right, it actually expands. So now when we're standing in a line of prayer, our hearts start to actually beat in sync with one another. Like our electromagnetic fields interact with one another. And so for us to be together like that, and even in this room, inshallah, there's a lot of power in that. And so that's one thing I noticed. It was like we're all standing here like a strong wall together, side by side, for the same reason, right? To worship the one who created us and put us here on this earth, right? And so now I want to just leave you with that thought and invite you to think about how can we live that on a daily basis? How can we create that unity, that connection, and that positive influence on one another more in our lives? And I just want to kind of add a little like footnote to that, which is that don't expect it to be perfect, right? I mentioned to you how there were people in my life who saw me like floating around with my 5 kids, like everything's perfect, right? But that's not reality. That's just not reality. None of us are perfect, right? We all have our flaws. We all have our strong emotions. We have our emotional outbursts. We have our ups. We have our downs. We have our mistakes that we make, right? And that doesn't preclude us or prevent us from being valuable, from being worthy, right, of one another's love and of giving each other love. So I want to leave you with that. I hope this has been really beneficial for you. It's been such a pleasure to be here. I think this is an amazing group. I, again, want to thank you for your vulnerability, for your willingness to sit through this and entertain these ideas and thoughts and, you know, being open to insights and open to one another as well. So thank you so much. And thank you so much to NYCMC for putting on this event, NYCMC Uplift, NYCMC FCAD, for giving us this opportunity to spend together in this way. And some of you I know have children and they're in like childcare right now, so that's like so cool, so amazing, such a unique opportunity. So Jazakumullah khairan to all of you and to everyone at NYCMC, and barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, Sister Danielle. May Allah bless you and reward you for all the wisdom that you left everyone here. You are truly an asset in our community, mashallah. So thank you so much for that. And as we are ending off and we're coming to an end, I want us to all just take a moment to look around the room. Look to your left, look to your right, look at your table, look how many beautiful sisters are in this room. And I want you to remember this image whenever you go home and you think you're alone. When you go home, you think that you're the only one going through your struggles, the only one that may need coaching on something, the only one that is changing their perspectives on life, and the only one that is thinking about all the struggles and challenges that you're going through. Look around, remember this image of all the amazing and inspiring women that are sitting right in this room that are going through the same exact thing, maybe in a different way, different journey, but they're all here today because we're all trying to empower ourselves, because we all went through something where we needed to be empowered, because maybe we didn't have someone to empower us, we didn't have someone to support us. So we're here today because we all need that support. We all want to support each other and we all need the support back. So as Danielle was mentioning, givers and takers, I want us to give to each other and take from each other and be each other's biggest support system and be our own support system when we need it the most also. So talking about that, we have a support group from Uplift. So this is our wellness branch, alhamdulillah. So in this support group, it's for parents, but it's also for anyone that is not a parent. If you're thinking of becoming a parent, or you just want to learn from other amazing women, and it's also females and males. So it's mothers and fathers. It's virtual every other Saturday. It's with myself and a school psychologist. So I have a background in social work and mental health, and Shireen Kaiser is a school psychologist. So we both facilitate the support group and bring our background in mental health and wellness, and we try our best to support anyone that participates in the support group. You come, you can listen, you can participate, you can offer, support to others. You can share your experiences, share your insights. We all have experience sharing our insights now with our journaling and, the activities we did today. So you can bring that to the support group, and we could talk about it. We could learn from each other, support each other in a very comforting environment in your own home. So it's virtual, so you can just be in your pajamas and join the support group and feel that love from a distance away. So it's a really beautiful space. Some of us have joined it that are in this room, so it's amazing to see you all in person, but it's a virtual group, so we hope that you're able to join us, inshallah, and continue this movement of women empowerment and being here for each other. So I hope you join it. Inshallah, next one is this Saturday. So if you're part of our group chat, you can just click the link and sign up. There's also a sign-up page back there. If you click the QR code, if you scan it, you can join us, inshallah. Okay, so I'll give it off to Najia now, and she'll talk about other amazing programs that we have at the center.
Okay, sounds good. So as you guys know, FCAD Institute will be hosting a conference. The topic is the Quran fair to women? The conference will address misunderstandings about women's roles and rights in Islam, providing insights and clarifications from knowledgeable speakers. Our speakers are Sheikh Sakil, Sheikh Zakaria, and Sister Hafsa. We do have limited seats, so if you want to sign up, I do highly recommend to register today. You can scan the QR code, or again, we have a programs table in the back. We're going to have free dinner, we have childcare available, we're going to have bazaars, so a lot of Muslim-owned businesses will come in to showcase their products. So it's an amazing event to attend. It will be happening Saturday, July 13th. Like I mentioned, it is limited seats, so I do recommend signing up today. And I just wanted to end by saying thank you all for being here today. Inshallah, we hope to see you guys in our future events. We would like to end today's event with a Quran recitation by Aisha. So Aisha, if you're ready.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
Allahumma barik, that was beautiful. Now I would like to tell all you ladies to take your journals, and we're going to take a group pictures. It will be right in front of our background. So whenever we're ready.
So we're all gonna have to squeeze a little bit, because mashallah, it's a beautiful big crowd.
Yes.
So, but we can make it work.
Yeah,
We're gonna
and make
it work.
sure to grab your journals.
Yeah. If you're comfortable taking a photo, then you can come over here. We are most likely going to post it, so you can cover yourself if you're not comfortable. But if you're comfortable, then please feel free to come. So we're gonna start. We're gonna have some people standing at the back. Then we're gonna have to have some people kneel and then sit on the floor. Yeah, yeah. So if we can have the tall people in the back, so we can kind of fit everyone in here. So let's have some people in the front, kind of kneel. So we need some people kneeling in the front, and some people on the sit on the floor also, if you're comfortable, so we can fit everyone. Yep, Aisha leading the way of our kneelers. We need some kneelers on the floor. So if anyone else would like to join, please come. More kneelers?
More people in the corners just come in the front.
If we can get some more people in the front, like that are in the corner. Yeah. Is it?